Isaac Newton was born on January 4th in Woolsthorpe, England. He was born prematurely and not expected to survive. His mother reportedly said he could have fit in a quart mug. He became interested in science at an early age because he lodged with a local apothecary and was fascinated by the chemicals. After failing as a farmer, he resumed his education at Cambridge University in 1661. At that time, the college's teachings were based on those of Aristotle, but Newton preferred the advanced ideas of modern philosophers like Copernicus and Galileo. Soon after he obtained his degree in August 1665, the university temporarily closed as a precaution against the Great Plague. Newton spent the next 2 years privately studying at home and developing his theories on calculus, optics, and physics. He took his discoveries of the generalized binomial theorem and developed a mathematical theory now known as the infinitesimal calculus that he called the method of fluxions and fluents. Newton published almost nothing of his findings until 1693 and didn't give a full account of it until 1704. He was reluctant to do so because he feared controversy and criticism.
Gottfried Leibniz was born on July 1st, 1646 in Leipzig, Germany. His father died when he was young and left him an expansive library that he had access to since he was 7 years old. This got him interested in philosophy and mathematics. He graduated from the University of Leipzig at the age of 17 and had earned his doctorate when he was just 20. His studies led him to create the binary code and the first calculator. He used these findings to develop differentiables in 1675 while studying in Paris. This became a major element in infinitesimal calculus, which he allegedly developed independently of Newton. He published his work in 1684. Although very similar, the men's individual forms of calculus had their differences. Newton's was much more complicated, involving Greek elements, while Gottfried's was geometry-based.
Starting in 1699, members of the Royal Society, of which Newton was a member, accused Leibniz of plagiarism. The dispute broke out in full force in 1711. The Royal Society proclaimed in a study that it was Newton who was the true discoverer and labeled Leibniz a fraud. This study was cast into doubt when it was discovered that Newton wrote the study himself. Thus began the bitter controversy which marred both of their lives. The dispute extended by Leibniz to attacks on Newton's theory of gravitation and his ideas about God and creation.
It is believable that Leibniz did not arrive at his conclusions independently because of the fact that Newton bounced his ideas off of mutual colleagues. Although Leibniz's methods were simpler and more developed, England refused to teach anything other than Newton's fluxional methods because of national pride. Today's audience may view this controversy as trivial, but it was a serious issue at the time that involved matters of mathematical advancement as well as pride. It is important, however, to keep in perspective that both Leibniz and Newton contributed greatly to the creation of calculus.
How dare you steal my work, Gottfried?
I did not do that, Newton.
Then how do you know my findings?
I came up with that by myself.
That's impossible.
It is not.
I spent years of my life working on those theorems.
Because you were hiding from rats.
Everyone is hiding from the rats. It was a great plague.
You're just jealous because I published my findings first.
So you admitted that you took them from me and published them before I had a chance.
I admit nothing of that stuff.
Prove it.
Fine, how?
Let's fight for it, brains and brawn.
It's on. Let the calculus wars begin.